Hey there, sweet friends. I hope you are all well. I'm so happy to welcome you all to day 3 of our 12 Days of Christmas in July tutorial series. If you're just joining in, you can find the link at the top of the description for the first 2 days so you can get caught up. And don't forget to listen throughout the video for the question of the day. For day 3, we've got a staggered page book with loads of layers and tons of festive details. If that sounds good to you, then stick around and we will make it together. I'm working with the Sugarplum Wishes collection for this project, and this is from Paige. So cute, very bright and cheerful, very retro inspired. I only got a few select sheets of this, very project specific, and I will also mention that I picked the tags with the images, and these are an integral part of this design, so don't skip on this tag sheet because it has given me loads of detail for my project. Now, we have made a staggered page album in the past, but for that specific project I had a base and there was cardstock, which meant I had 3 different sets of measurements and it took a lot longer. And so I really wanted to create this process to be much faster and easier, and that makes it more fun. So that's what we're going to do today, even though we're going to skip the base and the cardstock for each layer. I do want a base to add my pattern papers to, just to make it very sturdy. And so I am starting with a sheet of 110-pound cardstock. It's 10 high by 7 wide. I did add a layer of my double-sided tape there, and I want to utilize my 2 glue combo. I'm just folding that over to get a nice double layer. And then, of course, I do want to finish the back with the collection paper. So I have this one cut to be 5 high by 7. That's going to be the overall dimensions of the project. And I just want to add that right along the side and bottom to keep it nice and straight and even. So let's flip this over, and we're going to work from this side. Let's make sure to keep our words in the right direction. And so I'm going to go right to that pattern paper, and I have my patterns cut, and I'm going to work from the back forward. So it looks like I'm saying things in a certain order, and I need you to work from the back and work up. So my first piece is 5 high by 12 wide. It's the full width of that paper, and then I am scoring it at 5. I will want the next layer to be 6 inches, so we're going to have to come in and add some of the offcuts to make up that difference, but that will be okay because we'll just get a nice layering pattern from that. Before I add this, I want to incorporate the little clip that I'm going to use to adhere the tags. And so this is just going to be part of the design feature. And for the back piece, I'm not able to clip that over both of the pages because I have that extra thick cardstock layer. So let's just add this now, and then we can sandwich it between the paper layer here and the base. And this is just one of those Tim Holtz tiny clips. Putting that on there. And then I can add this to the base. It's just going to stretch the full width and height, so we're not going to have any border of that base showing. But now that back piece is 4 papers thick, so this is going to be nice and sturdy. When we get to the next layer, I have to flip that over, and then we'll add the next one on to this. So I have my paper cut here to be 5 inches high by 11 inches wide, and it's scored at 5. But remember, we have to make up the difference here on the side because we have that gap from the first layer. So what I'm going to do is bring in that extra piece. This is just cut off as I was working along. It doesn't really matter how wide it is as long as you can cover it with the next layer of paper. But you do have to keep it at 5 inches high. That way it will fit the height perfectly. Okay, so now you see when I add this, I will have a little border of that showing. So let's pull the tape here, add a little bit of Tombow You can hear that noise in the background. That is going to be the sump pump, and we're just going to have to work through that because we've already started. So I'm going to bring these corners together, keeping them straight and even along the bottom and the side. So now we have our second layer. We're going to go down in 1 inch increments, and we've got our border strip here as well. So now we have the next layer, and the measurement for this is 5 high by 9 wide and scored at 4. So before we adhere this to the book, I want to incorporate a little layer of lace here on the end, and the best way to attach that is going to be with my tiny attacher. So I want to do this step before I adhere it to the next page so that I can sandwich the back of those staples in between these layers. So I've just got this pretty little lace trim, and I'm going to line that up here. And then staple that. Come around to the other side and pull it straight. Staple that side as well. Then I can come in and remove the excess lace. It also might be helpful to come in here and just kind of flatten where that staple was so that you get a good contact when we add these pages together. I just squeeze that and it flattened right out. Want to have one more detail added before we go ahead and close this up. I've got a tag and I want to just adhere it. This is the part of the top. I want to use that as a page flips. So let's just take this tape backing off, and then I'll line that up so that I got the points where the size starts to decrease. That way I know I've got it straight and even. And then of course I need to add a little bit more tape to the back. Take that backing off, add a little bit of Tombow, and then line that up same way as we did the first layer, right along the edge and the bottom, keeping the sides straight. That trim is going to add so much nice texture and detail along the edge there, and you see we've captured that and hidden those staples between those layers. So for the next layer I have another folded piece. This time it is 5 high by 7 wide and scored at 3. I have another tag that I want to add. This one I'll have positioned closer to the bottom, so let's take that tape off. Same thing with the last tag. I'll just position that right along the edge. Add a little bit more tape. A little bit more Tombow. Put that in position. One more piece of that pattern paper for the cover, and so I have this cut to be 5 by 3, and that's just going to be positioned right there. One more tag I think will be nice at the top. So now we have all of our page flips in place. I want to incorporate a little bit more detail to the edges here. I've got my placemat. I picked these up from the Dollar Tree, and these work perfect as a non-stick surface. So if I want to glue or have anything not stick to the layer below it, I can use this in between. And so I've just got a little bit of pom-pom trim here, and I want to attach it right along the edge so that the full pom-pom will stay within the border. So let's just tack that into place. I'll flip that over and cut off the excess. And for this layer, I want to incorporate some of my tinsel trim. So I need to flip open to that page. And then add that with the same hot glue process. Clip off the excess one more time. Got a couple of details to add to the inside of the book. I took some of my offcuts here and I just used a rectangle die with a scalloped edge to give me a little bit of a border to keep these busy paper patterns separate, and this will act as a kind of a special photo mat area. So I'm just going to add one to each of these sets of pages. Now remember that we added that clip here, and so I'm just going to go through and find some of these tags and mix and match them and just add that right underneath that clip. So this is making it very versatile. If you want to do some journaling or if you want to have your picture go behind the tag, then you can move that around a little bit, not on the back one because we have that clip in place, but for the next pages you'll be able to do that. So I've got 3 more clips here, and I'll just attach these right to the top and then pick a tag that will have a nice contrast so it is a definite layering detail. This one. And then this one will go on the front. Okay, so that's going to be the inside finished. And we can decorate that front cover. Not a lot of room there, as you can see, but we're still going to get as many of the finishing details on as I can. So I'm going to start with this tag, and I did like it, but I wanted to use it more as a layering element rather than add that as the focal image. So I'm going to position this a little bit higher than middle so that I have room for my flowers. And then I've just got this little doily here. These came from Doodlebug, and they're just the little mini paper doilies. It just seems like the most perfect size for this front cover because it's only 3 inches wide. So we just need to be a little bit more careful with our space. So we're going to top that with the focal image that I did want to use. Of course, this was part of another one of those tags. So let's add that with some foam tabs just to get a little bit of dimension. While I'm finishing this off, it is a good time for the question of the day. So if you could add any new tool or supply to your crafty space, what would it be? For me, I would say that I have always toyed with the idea of getting a silhouette because I do love fussy cut images and layering them. And I just think that would make the process so much faster and easier. But alas, I do enjoy that busy work, so probably I'm not going to get that. But if I were splurging, I might consider it. So let me know in the comments, what is your choice for any new tool or supply? We got my little flower arrangement here. Just one flower this time, because remember, we don't have a lot of room. But I did incorporate my holly leaves that were die cut and my loopy twine bows. And then this is the same trim that I used yesterday. And I also considered using pink, but I think this plaid is going to look nicer with that pink flower just because it isn't quite so blendy. So let's add that with a little hot glue right along the bottom. And then I'll refluff those layers to get the dimension back. You've got tiny little pine cones to add to the cover. Clip off the excess. Bring in that button to hide the cut strings. I think I want to go back through and position my tags a little closer to the center so that I'm not making my layers look too busy. So I can do that for the first few. Easy just to switch the tag to the other side. But remember that last one, the tag, remember that last one, the clip is in place. So we can just have that one on the side. And see, now I've gotten my definite layers back by moving those over. And so the last thing, of course, I want to add are the sequins. And I'll add those with my Tombow. I am so glad that I re-envisioned this project with fewer layers because it just makes it so much easier not to have 3 sets of measurements and all of the extra work. It was much more fun just to get right to that pattern paper and my embellishments. So I'm really glad that I did that. And that's going to be it for our project for day 3. If you enjoyed it, make sure you come back tomorrow for day 4. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check the description for links. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.